In this video, I'm going to show you a realistic plan to make $3,200 or more per month with prop firms and prop firm robots. This entire strategy of what I'm going to teach you requires zero manual trading, and it's all backed by data. And we have tons of proof that this is not just a theory, but it's actually happening with real people. This is Ryan Burke that had over a 5-digit payout, meaning over $10,000. Another member, Benjamin, $12,000. Edward Bullen from the UK, over $7,000. We had Richard Stevens, $4,000. Benjamin Davidson, over $5,900. This is a gentleman that made $23,000 on a funded account. This is another guy that made over $6,000. And here's a bunch more people. And candidly, if I were to just go into our Discord channel, you can see that we probably help more people become funded prop traders than anybody else, thanks to robotic trading and actually learning how to trade with data and probabilities. This is just yesterday. This was a guy that passed a challenge and made money on his funded account. This is another guy that got funded 100K. This is another guy that got $3,200 just yesterday. And again, I'm not going to bore you here, but you can see the results are crazy because of this mathematics that I'm going to show to you right now. And we even had a retired doctor that got paid out over $1 million using this exact same strategy. Quick disclaimer, I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to make millions of dollars. I'm not guaranteeing you're going to be able to make anything, because past performance doesn't necessarily indicate future results. But I think when you see this math, you'll get pretty excited about this plan. Okay, let's just start from the beginning. So what is a prop firm, right? Prop firms, these large capital firms, they're looking to hire traders. You trade their money, and as long as you stay within their risk parameters, they'll give you a payout and they'll take a percentage as well. So one of the biggest prop firms, you probably heard of it, is called FTMO. How does their challenge work? It's a two-step challenge, right? You pay like a $500 fee to get access to $100,000 worth of capital. You basically, step one, you have to do 10% profit target in 30 days. Step two, you have to do 5% profit target within 60 days. And then step three, you actually get $100,000 worth of funding. Now, this is pretty standard across the industry. One other prop firm that we really love right now is called True Forex Funds. It's actually a little bit easier. It's only a $500 fee, so it's a little bit cheaper, and you only have to do 8% profit target in phase one and then 5% profit target in phase two. So the whole idea here is to use a trading algorithm or a trading robot to actually pass these tests for you, and then once it's passed the test for you, to actually then go and trade the funded account. And I've made a lot of other videos on our channel talking about how we're helping tons of people get funded by using a trading robot called TitanX. The thing that makes TitanX different than anything else on the market is there's tons and tons of strategies built inside of TitanX, and the thing that really makes it different is this concept that we call our prop farming leaderboard, which basically all of the people that use our robot, actually their data gets feeded into the centralized database, and we're able to see what strategies are working best in the current market environment. And that's why our product continues to work and doesn't just this one-hit wonder and then it starts to fail, is because we have new strategies that are being tuned for the market conditions right now. So just an example, when we first started, we had strategies that would pass maybe 60% of the time, and now we have strategies that are passing like 93% of the time. Now, even if you're not using our TitanX robot and our prop farming leaderboard, if you're using some other robot, that's still fine. You really want to understand this math and this formula that I'm going to teach you in just a second. Now, if I were to just pull up this strategy, I can see it's called 95MA2. It trades gold on the 1-minute time frame. You can see it was back tested over the course of the last 52 weeks. And over the course of the last 52 weeks, it actually passed 93% of that. And we also have a little column here to say that it was back test verified by our team, and actually somebody went to the live market and actually passed a challenge using this exact same strategy. The cool part about this, I can just come here to files. I can go to whatever account size I'd like to. I can click if I'm a challenge, verification, or post funded, and I can put in my profit target and my max loss. And then I can literally just download the entire set file right there, so I don't have to adjust any of the settings. Now, if I click on this results tab here, I can actually see it parsed out week by week. So this is, had I had started a new FTMO challenge account on the market open every week of the past 52 weeks, I would have been able to see the results happening right here. So you can see all of the passes, the fails, and you can also see the retakes. I can also see that it took me about 10 days on average to pass. Now, in the heart of full transparency, this is how it performed in history over the course of the last 52 weeks. And with back testing, that doesn't necessarily mean that past performance is going to equal your future results. However, it does give us an idea of the robustness of the strategy and what we can sort of expect. I never expect my forward test to perform quite as well as my back test, and I like to conservatively measure things just so I can properly set my expectations. So even though while historically this passed 92.98% of the time over the course of the last year, I like to set my expectations at maybe like half of that. So maybe I'll do like a 50%. Now, in reality, do we actually see us passing 50%? We see it somewhere in between like 92 and 50%. But just to set your expectations lower, let's just say, for example, we have a 50% chance at actually passing. So now the math and the formula of how this actually works. So let's just say, for example, we're going for a $100,000 challenge and our test fee is $500, which is kind of industry average. And again, let's just say that we can have a coins flip odds of actually passing the challenge and getting funded. So that means 50% of the time we'll get funded, 50% of the time we'll fail the challenge. So that means on average, we have to take 2 challenges in order to get a funded account. So our cost per funded account is $1,000, right? With that $1,000, let's just say that we go for a more conservative profit target. Instead of going for like a 10% profit target, let's just say that we go for a 4% profit target. I like to do this for a few reasons. Number one is it's easier to achieve a 4% profit target than a 10% profit target. And number two, if you're using any prop firms outside of like FTMO, True Forex Funds, My Forex Funds, any ones that have been around for a while, if you're using some new prop firm, then I get nervous about these newer prop firms, especially if you make like a 10% payout. Are they going to actually pay you out? Whereas a smaller amount, I think it'll be less costly for them to pay you out. Anyways, I just go for a 4% profit target. Now, if we do a 4% profit target, and again, with a prop firm, generally will keep about 80% of the profits. If we do $4,000 in profit, 80% profit split, we'll make about $3,200. Now, let's take a look at our P&L, our profit and loss, right? So the cost was $1,000 to get this funded account. Remember, with these prop firms, on your first payout, you actually get the challenge fee refunded back to you. So that's why I actually made it $500, because on the one that we passed and got a payout on, then we actually got that fee refunded to us. So it actually cost us $500 and we made $3,200 plus. Now, why do I say plus? Because this is our first payout. You know, you could get multiple payouts before you end up losing the account, which is a reality. Most people will lose their account at some point. And if that's the case, then you can come back and you can just repeat the process and take a new test. Now, we do have some people in our group that have had their funded accounts for 7-8 months, it seems like, but just expect at some point you're going to lose this funded account, and that's just trading. Now, you may be thinking, how can we assume that we're going to be able to just make this 4% profit on the funded account? And we can't assume anything, but we did run this test with one of our top strategies, and we basically saw over the course of the last 52 weeks, going for a 4% profit target, 98% of the time, we were able to make that 4% profit target. So again, while, back test doesn't equal your forward test, at the same rate, we've seen that we have a somewhat high probability of making a 4% profit target. But even if you were to just do a 2% profit target, so again, the same numbers here, we go for a $100,000 account, $500 test fee. Let's say we only get funded 50% of the time. It costs us $1,000 to get a $100,000 funded account. If we go for a 2% profit target, our profit split is $1,600. So in reality, it costs us $500 to make $1,600 plus. And again, our odds of making a 2% profit target are even higher than making a 4% profit target. And again, we can get more than one payout on this account before we lose it. So the whole idea here is what we like to call prop farming, but basically our whole idea is to get as many of these funded accounts as possible, right? So just imagine if you had 2 of these funded accounts, you'd double your profit, or 3 or 4 or 5, then you can imagine that each one of these funded accounts is like this whole new profit center that you've opened up. And we've got plenty of people in our group that are already doing this. This is M. Sislo that he said 8 challenges. This was a while back when the screenshot was taken, but I think he's passed like 10 challenges at this point and been funded over $1 million, which is pretty cool. So imagine just doing 2% on $1 million or 4% on $1 million. That could be life changing. Here's where most people mess this entire thing up. As great as the math sounds, it's psychologically difficult to do this. And let me explain. We're probably all familiar with this idea of flipping a coin, right? We all know that you have about a 50% chance of landing on heads and a 50% chance of landing on tails. Now let's just say hypothetically, for example, that we have a 50% chance at getting funded. This means that in order to flip our coin, it costs us $500. Okay, if it lands on heads, we get a $100,000 funded account. If it lands on tails, then we lose our $500. If that was your odds, how many times would you flip this coin, right? I would flip it as many times as humanly possible, knowing that, okay, my downside risk is $500, my upside risk is $100,000. Now, granted, if $500 to flip the coin is too much, you can obviously come in here and you could do a $50,000 account for $300, or you could do a $25,000 account for $189, or you could do a $10,000 account for $89. So it can just just work with anybody's budget, but this is the math. I'm gonna flip one coin 1,000 times and my probability of getting tails is 50%. Simulation, if we land on heads, that means that we get funded. If it lands on tails, then we actually fail. And then we go ahead and we flip this coin. Here we can see the results. The results came out 491 out of the 1,000 times. It actually was heads, and 509 out of the 1,000 times it was actually tails. Now, if we just go through here, we can see the results of these 1,000 flips. And I can see here, had I had started, I would have got $100,000, $200,000 account, $300,000, and then I would have failed. And then I would have passed, I would have passed, I would have failed. I would have passed, I would have passed, I would have failed. I would have passed, failed. But however, if you play this game long enough, you can see that you'll go through times where you'll actually lose multiple times in a row. So let's just imagine that we started here. You got 3 times that you started and you actually failed 3 times in a row. This psychologically would be demoralizing, right? And I know this because of people in our group that, they'll start and sometimes they'll fail 1 or 2 times in a row before actually getting a pass. And this is demoralizing, right? Because it hurts your psychology. You think that, hey, this thing doesn't actually work. This trading system doesn't actually work. Whereas in reality, we know that we have around a 50% chance of getting funded, and we just have to let the law of large numbers play out. So the more you can train yourself to see this and to think like this, the better chances you'll have at actually becoming a successful trader. And if you're to just give up when you have a few losers in a row, then you're gonna miss out on these 491 winning chances where you actually get the funded account. And hey, if you thought that this video was helpful, then watch this one right here where I talk about a story of a guy that made a $1,080,000 payout and he got funded $20 million using this exact same formula. Go ahead and check that out right now.